already.
Are we on, are we?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Lovely.
Hello, everyone. We're live.
Yeah, this is a bit different, isn't it? Can you
It
tell
is.
this
It
is
is
born out of
weirdly different.
necessity? Anyway, yes,
Yeah, it
so
is.
we are doing this basically because change of circumstances in life means that we don't always necessarily have time to scramble ourselves together and record and edit a video every week. So we're going to try this
No,
new format of doing... I don't know what on earth that noise was, but that was horrible.
no, I know what you mean.
The hell was that?
I don't know.
Live TV, everyone. Yeah, so we're basically doing this because, like I said, change of circumstance means that with me now commuting an hour and a half every day to work, which is fun, and it just means it's a bit more of a faff really to get us all together. So we're going to do this little podcast a bit more. It's very similar to what we usually do. It's just that we're not on camera. We're recording remotely, and this is live. So obviously, if there are any comments or anything you want to get involved in, please do. Feel free to tell us what you think about anything we discuss. We're going to go over some news, and obviously the big news that Murray Gold is back as Doctor Who's new composer, or old composer.
Yes.
So
Yes. He is back. The god of Doctor Who music has returned. I am very happy about this. Very happy.
Me too. I mean, it was probably, in terms of the surprise factor, it really wasn't that much of a surprise, but we'll get into that as we go on, because I believe you've managed to scramble together some news. I say that like I just put you to work.
So while you've been in work,
This is
obviously
true.
we know Murray Gold's coming back. That is the biggest news story of the last week or so, or however long it's been. But also, to carry on with the news of Doctor Who, Doctor Who magazine has officially announced 2 new actors to take part in season 14. They are Sophie Ablett, who has previously played roles in TV series Doctors and Taboo, and Millie Kent, who was in the 2nd season of The Split, and was also appearing in films like Saltburn and The Shepherd, which are coming out later this year.
Yeah, I can't say either of those names particularly ring a bell to me.
I've seen Doctors. That's why I know Sophie Ablett, and she was quite good in Doctors, I thought.
I would never have had you down as a Doctor's viewer.
I don't know. No,
isn't that the one that's on? Isn't Doctors the one that's on in like the middle of the day, and is it catered specifically to people who just like enjoy watching?
Yes, and I've been home at
telly?
times when my mum's retired, and I've been at home with her sometimes when it's been on. These things happen.
Hey, and you don't need to justify this. Honestly, it's fine. If you enjoy Doctors, no one's going to stop you. No, we might mock you.
As of today, the official list for the new cast of Doctor Who for season 14 is Ncuti Gatwa, Millie Gibson, Gemma Redgrave back as Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, Anarin Bernard, Michelle Greenidge, Anita Dobson, Jack Forsyth-Noble, Jinx Monsoon, Barb Joshi, Elliot Lone, Pete McHale, Miles Yekeni, and Hemi Yoroha. I don't know how to...
I was going to say, just give up on that one if you don't know.
I feel like I butchered that. Plus Ablett and Kent on top of that. So it's an interesting cast list so far.
Lots of you've got some big names in there like Jinx Monsoon and Anita Dobson and everything, but then you've also got people that I'm not trying to be rude, but I've never heard of, and they don't strike me as massive names. Anita Dobson was on Inside Number 9, which started again last night, which she was brilliant in that, to be fair. So,
and her role has been confirmed. She's going to be playing a character called Mrs. Flood, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes out.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that she's got quite a bit of a... I think people are picking up on the fact that she might be next door neighbours or something with Ruby Sunday. That's the thing that people seem to be... but that's obviously just a theory, a game theory.
Yeah.
But... yeah, the speculation is rife at the minute. Obviously, I think the big casting of recent weeks was Jinx Monsoon, who is not someone I am particularly familiar with, but I know that they've got quite a lot of accolades in terms of sort of musicals. I think she did, was it a Run on Chicago or something in Broadway. I can't quite remember exactly, but I know that they're
Uh,
very accredited in terms of musical, and I know that they're quite famous in the drag race in
yeah,
America, which again is not something I am overly familiar with, but you know, from what I've seen in terms of what people have said about her as an actor and a singer and everything, um, yeah, I mean, I can only expect good things. I think it's really fueling this rumor of the Doctor Who musical, um,
yeah.
which I think because they
Especially with
have
the outfit reveal for her character as well,
the piano
because
keys and
it kind of
everything,
looks
and
piano-y. Yeah,
yeah, it's been there's quite a bit of interesting speculation. I think to be fair, musicals are like the one thing Doctor Who hasn't really done. Like we've done horror, we've done comedy, we've done sort of drama, everything like that. I think musicals is really the only thing that Doctor Who hasn't tackled. And whether it might not even be a musical, it could just be a case of there's a musical performance within an episode, like sort of your Foxes in Mummy on the Orient Express and the musical number in there. Oh, what's that god awful Dalek one from series 3 called? Daleks in Manhattan.
yeah.
That one.
I
So
wouldn't
I
say
don't know.
god awful.
I would. I think it's one
Uh,
of the worst. It's definitely, for me, it's the weakest of that season, and that season's got like
yeah,
42 in the Lazarus Experiment in.
yeah,
Yeah,
true. I'll give
but
you
then
that.
it does have like the last half of series 3. I would argue is just as strong as the last half of series 4. You know, once you get to Human Nature, right the way through to the end, you've got Human Nature,
Oh, it's
Blink, Utopia.
perfect.
You know,
It
every
is,
episode
it's
hits a home
Doctor
run.
Who on a T there. It's perfect Doctor Who in my eyes from Human Nature, from Family of Blood and Human Nature.
100%,
Uh,
100%.
but
But
also another bit of news: the Christmas special has been revealed that they've been doing a lot of filming with drones, which is the first time that's ever been happening in Doctor Who. So where
yeah,
you
lots
get
of
them
things are.
shots of the Doctor running frantically around the TARDIS, they're gonna try and step back from that and use the drones to make it look a bit better. I think.
I think they
That's
have
the
picked up
idea.
on. They've used drones before. I think in Ascension of the Cybermen, where they've got those shots of them. I think they're all drones. I could be wrong, but no, I mean it makes sense,
Might
really, isn't
be.
it? It's utilizing sort of new technology, lots of different, lots of films and stuff. There's a lot of drones on like sort of documentaries use them a lot. I found, because they're cheaper
Yeah,
than a helicopter to get those aerial
yeah.
shots and things. So yeah,
And it's also been revealed that top of the range technology, the kind that Marvel uses, is currently being used to make Doctor Who in Wales, which the VFX coordinator thinks is, and this is a quote, thinks is pretty spectacular. It means Doctor Who's at the forefront of pushing the boundaries.
which
So
I think it should be, and it has the capacity to do so. I think as long as it comes, as long as I think that's the main reason behind why the 60th is so nostalgic of like 2008 and everything, because that is at the end of the day where the show is its absolute zenith in terms of like general popularity, and to bring all those people back in and then introduce it to a new era, it has the potential to push Doctor Who right back up in the stratosphere. And I think it is easily, the same Doctor Who has the same amount of potential as like Star Wars and Marvel to be like sort of like the big, genre like staples. And I think it's only fair, and especially with all this Disney money now coming in, it only makes sense that they use some of that technology, because like those like projected sets they use on like the Mandalorian and stuff look fantastic. And they, like, because
yeah,
I remember watching Mandalorian and thinking, how have they done that? Like, have they genuinely gone to like the middle of the desert somewhere? And I knew obviously some of it would be CG enhanced, but the fact that it's an entire studio with like a projected background, I mean, it looks great, and
yeah,
I think it's gonna do wonders for the show. I think the production's really going to take a step up now in the next couple of years.
yeah. I'm really happy to see where this is going. With since the merger with Disney for the US fans of Doctor Who, I think it's opening the door quite a bit to the potential that Doctor Who could become now in the 21st century.
Yeah, I think they've made the right decision with the Disney stuff, keeping it sort of very much it's the BBC's thing in the UK, and then everywhere else it's there, because half the places, like Australia, they treated Doctor Who appallingly, in terms of they broadcast it in sort of terrible quality, they sort of shift it around the schedules. Other countries are
Yeah,
going to have like ads every, like, I think it's like every 8 minutes in America. Like, can you imagine watching Doctor Who and getting ads every 8 minutes? I think
yeah.
it's so. I think to put it
You
on
just
Disney
sit in
Plus
the
is
UK just laughing at them.
well, maybe we'll not go that far, but but I think definitely
No, I know what you mean.
in terms of, I just think it's the right move for the show, and it can. I think Doctor Who has the potential to be as good as, if not better than, the sort of Disney and Netflix and Amazon originals and things. Chuck a load of money at it, get it massive. It's, you know, it's got the potential to do anything. It's one of those shows that you literally can do anything with it. You can have a big sci-fi space opera one week, and then like a nice character-based sort of contemporary, and then like a sort of educational historical the next week. You know, not many other shows have the capacity to do that, and I think to utilize that would be the best thing going forward, and get Doctor Who out of the rut that it's been in for the last couple of years. Not that I'm saying that I've hated everything since Russell T Davies left the first time round, but there is, you know, there's no denying that. Yeah, and even in like the public consciousness, so many people haven't realised that it's still on. Like so many people, because we've had those like daft gap years over the past. I know that the sort of COVID couldn't be helped, but before that we'd have sort of like, you know, oh, we get a special this year and then a full series in a year's time and stuff. You know, it doesn't keep it in the public consciousness, because like I've spoken to people where they've gone, oh, I thought it finished, like I thought it finished years ago. It's like no, it's still on, but I think it needs to be catapulted back into the stratosphere.
Yeah, it was that gap from the end of Series 9 going into the Doctor Mysterio special.
100%. That's definitely what did it a disservice.
Is the cause of it. But then Season 10, I thought Capaldi's strongest run as the Doctor, without a shadow of a doubt, was Season 10. And I really enjoyed that season. It was one of my favourites of New Who. Not obviously the favourite, because that belongs to Eccleston. But I agree.
It is one of my favourite of his Doctor's era.
Yeah, he kind of brought a bit of faith back into the show, and I did know you could see a lot more people getting excited when he regenerated into Jodie for the direction it would go in. And it's just a shame that Chibnall did bad. Yeah, he had potential with that season. And
I don't think it's necessarily all. I mean, there's stuff that we can level at Chibnall in terms of like sort of narratively, you know, like the creative decisions were sort of him, but like that doesn't necessarily have a knock-on effect on a show that's already been in a sort of decline in general public consciousness for a while. Because I think Doctor Who hasn't really been that big since the 50th. You know, like even Capaldi's
that was
first,
the last peak.
There was big drops in Capaldi's first couple of episodes in terms of viewing figures, and I know viewing figures across the board have gone down. But even looking at Jodie's stuff, she started with 10 million on her first episode, and by the end of her first season, she's picking up like, you know, only a sort of 5 or 6, I think, totally. I don't even think it was that, to be fair. You know, I just think that it's a shame because, all right, there have been some issues story-wise in the past, but there's been some enjoyable parts to it too. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I've hated every single episode of Doctor Who since sort of 2008, 2009, because I'd be lying. There's been some great stuff even quite recently. You know, I still stand by that I enjoy very much, you know, 2/3 of Flux. The first 2/3 are great. Yeah. I genuinely think they're solid episodes. It's only those last two that drop it down. But I think, you know, going forward now and having Russell T Davies and sort of Julie Gardner and Phil Collinson and David Tennant, Catherine Tate, whatever, it's a great way to go. Look, remember this was so good, we're going to do it again now. But I think a lot of fans thinking it's just a step backwards, when in fact that all of these people, all of these creators have gone on to do very different things in the last couple of years. And it's not going to be the same show. Like 2008, without meaning to make anyone feel old, because when I realised this the other day, I need to go for a lie down. But 2008 was 15 years ago. They're not going to remake Series 4. It's going to be, all right, similar people and same people involved, but it's going to be a completely new take. And even just judging from that trailer, it looks different. It doesn't look like I'm watching Series 4. It looks like I'm watching Doctor Who
a new series. Yeah.
Which I think leads us nicely onto our big... Oh, sorry.
No, obviously with the news that Bernard Cribbins did pass away, this is going to be a very emotional season for long-term Doctor Who fans from season 4, because it's going to be the last time anyone sees Bernard Cribbins on screen in any capacity, and it is going to be madly emotional, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's just one of those things. I think there's, rather than dwell on the sad points, I think it's good to look ahead and realise that there's, you know, all right, there's lots of people coming back, but they've also got lots of new people coming in. Like all the directors that have been announced are new to the show, bar 2 of them.
Yeah.
And they, I think, have only come, like Rachel Talalay's doing one of the specials, and then Mark Tonderay is doing 1 or 2 episodes of Series 14, but they're both people who weren't even in Russell T Davies' original era. They're from Moffat and Chibnall. So, you know, I think there's definitely...
I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, 100%. You know, one of the other people that's coming back, as we've mentioned, is Murray Gold. So we can segue nicely into that one now.
Sorry for cutting your segue off earlier.
Don't worry about it. It's live. It's all good. Can't just edit these things out and fight each other now.
No.
Mostly because you're about 20 miles away, but that's fine. Um, my arms don't reach that far. But yeah, no, so I think the announcement for Murray was met with quite mixed reaction. There were a lot of people going, "Oh, I
Yeah.
wish there was going to be someone new, or why does it have to be him?" And like for me, I think in an ideal world, for me, I'd have had Murray back for the specials, and then have someone new come in for series 14, or at least have like sort of like a not like a writer, like a composer's room, and have different people do different episodes, like I said in that video before, and have people like David Buckley come in.
Yeah.
But I'm not sitting here going, I can't believe they've brought Murray Gold back, because I'd be an idiot. Because at the end of the day, regardless of what you think of bringing these people back, there's no denying that Murray Gold, objectively, is a very talented composer.
Yeah, I mean, look at what he's done. He done work. His work is all through. I think the revival in 2005. I can't remember if it was series 1, but all the way up to series 10, he's been heavily involved in Doctor Who music, and some of the scores he's composed are absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's a case of he started with the show in 2005, but it never felt like he was just all right. There were some times where certain motifs and stuff, like I think nobody ever wants to hear "I Am the Doctor" used again, despite that being an absolute sort of banger of a track. It was very overused, but like there's music I hear, I can straight away think that's RTD, and then there's music that I hear think, oh, that's the Moffat era, But he's done lots of things, I mean, he started off doing TV back in the like the late 90s, early 90s. I think he composed like the music for Shameless, or at least the theme tune. He did like the Musketeers years and years. He did Doctor Who for like God, however long that was. What was it, 12 years or something?
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing. He's composed, like you said, there are some iconic music, and even as their own, a standalone piece of music, taking them completely away from Doctor Who context, they are still very, like, they're objectively good pieces of music.
Yeah, like I could quite happily sit in a theater. I'm not a big fan of like this sort of orchestra performance in a theater, but I would happily sit there and listen to his work over and over just because of how good it is.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? We had the Doctor Who proms, like, what was it, 3 or 4 times during Murray's tenure. You wouldn't get anything like that for Sagan Akinola. Not knocking his work, but it's not the kind of thing that you could play in an orchestra, because it's all, electronic music, it's synthesized and stuff, and that's fine. But I don't think you can rely on that all the time. And but I can make the same criticism at Murray, that you can't rely on the sort of the National Orchestra of Wales every time you want to, bash someone over the head with an emotional theme, because there are times, not many, but there are times where it feels like the music is telling you how to feel. And I know that's what it's there for, but it becomes quite overt at times. But most of the time, I think half of that, though, is the problem that there's, that problem they had with the remastering of the new series Blu-rays that came out, about 10 years ago now, where the audio was just absolutely shafted on there, and you get the music overpowering the dialogue to the point where people can't even hear what's being said. Now, luckily on iPlayer, that doesn't seem to be too much of an issue. And it's why I held off from buying those, because I want them to fix it and do like a sort of new series collection type thing when we get around to that. But I think in terms of, like, I could listen to Murray Gold's music just on its own. You know what I mean? I could put on the sort of series 3 album or something and just listen to that. Because I know you've come up with a list of some of his best tracks, haven't you? Or your favourites of his.
For my favourites, I'm not going to say they're his best, because that's completely subjective. But the top of my list is the Dark and Endless Dalek Night from Stolen Earth and Journey's End. Like, that's the top piece of music for me.
How does that go?
Him. How
does that go?
I'm not singing it.
It was worth a try. It was worth a try.
I was like, no, you know what it is.
I was trying to get you to sing it, to be fair, but we can dream.
Yeah. But no, like, that's
100
just
subscribers,
such
and Tom will do a vocal rendition of a Murray Gold medley. Hey, this is a good point before we carry on with this. We've got 2 days to get 55 subscribers if you want the Dimension their Doctor in Distress cover. So, just gonna put that out there.
Oh, forgot about that as well. Why did you have to remind me?
Because I just want you to be emotionally prepared for the torture I'll put you through when we. I'm
always emotionally prepared.
Well, I was thinking of hiring out a studio and everything and doing it properly, but cost of living and all that, we'll just have to record it here.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Anyway,
Um,
sidetracking already.
yeah,
But yeah, no, there's what was the long and dark Dalek? That's a long title.
Dark and Then the Starlight Night.
That's what I
So
was gonna say.
it's the music you hear when you see the Daleks appear in Stolen Earth for the first time, like da da da, that bit.
I knew I could get him to do it. I
I'm not,
knew
I'm
I could.
not,
I
I'm
knew
not,
I
I'm not
could.
going into it. But yeah, so it's whenever you're seeing the Daleks. I'm not going to do the vocalizing bit either because there is a vocalizing bit to
Please.
it.
What if I say
And
please really nicely?
Dan in the chat has put a good song in the greatest story never told.
Yes. Oh,
So that's in the Forest of the Dead.
yes, that's brilliant. That one.
Yeah,
That one I always imagine for some reason it sounds like sort of a regeneration. You could
yeah,
soundtrack that to like a regeneration because of the way it slowly sort of builds and then just like crescendos. See, I'm using music terms. I know things. Into that big sort of swelling melody and then it calms down then just afterwards, and it always to me feels like a very regeneration-y type piece of music.
yeah. But it's like some of the stuff is just so prominent and like in out there and in your face, but it not so much it's annoying, but it's just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's
Like
at his
so,
best. I think in the first 5 series, right up to sort of Matt Smith's first, and then there's quite a lot of things get overused, and then it's very, sort of more. Not that there's anything wrong with subtle, but there's just things that you feel like you could have done with a bit more here or a bit less here. But in terms of like the
I
first couple of years, I think not to mention the fact that he's done 2 stellar versions of the theme tune. Those first
he
two. I'm
has,
not too fussed
and
on the others.
yeah, like with I Am the Doctor and A Good Man, the 11th Doctor's and 12th Doctor's themes respectively. They're both really good pieces of music, but they're an example of music that's been overused throughout the series. Because every episode you have I'm the Doctor from the 11th hour when you first hear it, where he's
Yeah,
doing that
especially in
speech
like
to
sort of
the
series 5 and 6.
yeah, and then series 8 and 9 you got the every time the Doctor's have getting towards the point where he's about to save the day, you just hear the A Good Man at its like where it's starting to hit that like I can't remember the thing, but it's up in the tempo and it's hitting that bridge at the top to carry on and get.
Are you just throwing in
Yeah.
music words to try and make it sound like you know what you're talking about?
Yes, trying to make people think I know what I'm talking about. I only did music for 4 years.
And he still can't play the triangle.
Nope. I can bang a drum though.
I mean, I would be worried if you couldn't, to be fair. You can do it, just not necessarily in any sort of rhythm or tempo or anything, but that's fine. No, I think in terms of the Doctor themes, I think the strongest ones are the sort of, as like we said, it is overused, but I Am the Doctor is a good piece of music, and I like the 10th Doctor, sort of like second variation there from
the series 4 one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. That's probably my favorite, my second favorite theme. The I Am the Doctor is going to be my favorite theme for the Doctor. It is just the fact that it's throughout all of season 5 and 6. You just hear it, and
I'm
it's
so
just...
sorry if you just heard that. That was the chair. That was not me. I have a very squeaky chair. I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but I feel like I need to apologise just in case that went out live and people thinking.
Basically, Will just farted.
I did actually. I genuinely didn't fart. And we're not descending into toilet humour less than half an hour into this. But yeah, the themes. I'm the Doctor is great, and I like the Ninth Doctor one is great as well. I mean, the 12th Doctor one it's fine. It's all right. It doesn't really have a lot to it. But there's a lot of variety. You get stuff like the sort of sadder, like the Ninth Doctor's theme, Rose's theme, and then you get like the more upbeat, like cheerful stuff like Clara's theme and Bill's theme and Donna's theme, and Martha's theme. Like the companion themes are all brilliant as well. Like I can I can pick out each of those in my head regardless. Like sometimes I have to think, what's the 12th Doctor's theme? Oh yeah, but the companion ones I know in my head.
Yeah, I mean, with Donna Noble, you hear the rueful fate of Donna Noble play out throughout the series, and it's one of those that just makes you feel like something bad is going to happen to her whenever it plays, but you just don't quite know what, and I love that. Like it's a nice bit of foreshadowing, but it's not giving away anything. It's just okay, something bad might happen. Like, but at the time of the season starting, you knew she was going at the end of the season. Like, it is what it is. It
I mean,
like
I
it was
didn't, but that's
announced
because
that she was going to go.
8 and I wasn't looking on Gallifrey Base or anything. I was just enjoying the show. But
Oh yeah, but like you know what it is. Like you know who's coming and going
yeah, but
around
what I
the
mean is,
start of the season.
I'm on about the actual like Donna's actual theme. You know, the sort of
Yeah.
the jazzy one that you hear in the Runaway Bride first that crops up a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, that's good.
The one that's
Dan says Will is a Slovene.
What did you say?
Will is a Slovene.
A Slovene. Dan, are you drunk already?
It's spelled Slovene.
I think he needs a I mean, I've no idea. Dan's been on the sauce already. We're not supposed to go to the pub till 7.
Yeah, but he came with other like really good villain scores as well, like the Daleks theme from Dalek, Bad Wolf, Parting of Ways, to all that Ninth Doctor era Dalek music was Murray Gold, and it was
the Cybermen one as well. And I love the end of series 2 where it's that cliffhanger where you get the Cyberman music that slowly blends into the Dalek theme as they come out of the sphere.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Because that's
it really is
top tier sort of like just composition in general. Because I feel like with the Sagan Akinola villain themes, like Willem Dafoe, Willem Dafoe's here, everyone. No, the Dalek one I didn't mind too much. It was quite rocky, but the Cyberman one I thought was appalling. It just sounds like someone's like just banging a load of saucepans around. It sounds like my upstairs neighbours. You know, just banging stuff around the kitchen for no good reason whatsoever, with no like rhythm or anything. And you know, the one was like, honestly,
yeah.
But the Murray Gold monsters and the Masters theme as well is like top tier. You know, the end of Utopia. Utopia as a whole is a brilliant episode, but the music in that as well is
Gallifrey is beautiful.
Yeah, this is Gallifrey stuff, the future kind music, which is great if you're going to the gym. I don't go to the gym anymore, but it was great at the time.
Oh no, it probably gets you in there, in the zone.
Yeah, and like the Yana theme tune when he regenerates that is I think used again in the finale. It just works. And there's so much stuff as well that has been unreleased, like the sort of in the Waters of Mars, where you know the Time Lord Victoria stuff in the base and everything. That's not been released, and it's the same music that's used at the end of Part 1 of The End of Time, and like it's not on the special soundtrack. And I feel like we need a proper, just like a full official release of every track that's ever been played, including Series 10,
which is coming. By the way, Season 10 is in the works of being of coming out of the shadows back into the world.
Yeah, I think they missed a massive. I think because that's the strongest of the 3 Capaldi series in terms of music by a country mile.
Oh yeah,
you know that Bill's theme is great. The music used in the end of the Doctor Falls, you know, that piano thing where you know everyone's basically dead. You know, it's all right. It's not the most upbeat piece of music, but it's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, I tell you one that stands out for me as well. Father's Day. The music in that.
Yes, because that goes for a bit more of an experimental. Like obviously you get the piano stuff, but there's that sort of I don't know what the word is, but before you get the actual piano score to it, there's that sort of echoey synthy type music as well. And I think that sort of blends quite well the sort of more experimental music that Doctor Who's done, because I don't mind when Doctor Who does a bit sort of experimental bashing synthesizers music, you know, I'm all for that. It's very nostalgic of my childhood watching like, you know, 80s Doctor Who when it's just radiophonic workshop on crack.
Yeah.
But I think Father's Day blends the two seamlessly.
It does. It really does do a good job, and it's a brilliant piece of music on top of a brilliant episode.
Should we tell you what? We'll try and go through each series and just pick out a couple of like sort of standouts.
Okay.
In terms of, you know, because otherwise we'll keep going back and forth and I'll get a headache.
Yeah.
So series 1, I feel like we have to mention the theme tune itself, the new version of the theme, which is phenomenal. Because considering they were going to use that sort of weird, that weird Marquez version of the original theme, that's fine, but it's nothing new. It's just, you know, it's just sort of been enhanced slightly. but it's nothing really new. Whereas that new theme catapults you straight into the new era. It's different to the one they used on the trailers as well, and it's a massive improvement on the one that was used in the trailers, because that sounds too slow and too like it's sort of dragging along. But the one they actually use is so punchy, and it only gets better when they revamp it again in Series 4, which is probably my joint favourite version of the title music, you know?
Yeah.
So I can't really fault that. What else is there in Series 1? We mentioned Father's Day, we mentioned the Dr. Seaman Rose's theme. Oh, the
Daleks we've mentioned.
yeah, the Slovene, that with where the ship crashes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's
That's
brilliant.
a phenomenal
Yeah.
piece of music. That is a proper like I always said it almost feels like the start of a film, and then they sort of use that again in Day of the Doctor at the start of the film.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that.
Oh, and they
So-
how can we can't forget the music of the regeneration either.
No,
That
that
score
was
is
beautiful.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. Moving on then to Series 2.
The
have
reintroduction
got
of the unit
some
theme in the
lovely
Christmas
music.
special. That new
that
unit
was
motif
brilliant.
is great. But I always find that School Reunion's got a good soundtrack as well.
It does. It does.
Sort of, it builds quite well and holds attention. I think if that had been sort of another composer, it wouldn't have been that tense. But the
Yeah.
music builds quite well, and it also has some nice subtle moments as well. And what's the other one I'm thinking of? Which episode is that from?
I'm thinking Song for 10.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But
How does that go again?
love that song. I'm not singing it. You're not getting me to sing it.
Let us know in the
composed it
chat
with
if
Neil Hannon singing.
let us know in the chat if you want to hear Tom sing. Give the people what they want, Thomas.
Yeah. Yes, we are talking to soundtrack. Just because Murray Gold's back. So yeah, that's the end of season 1 for me with Song for 10. That was probably the like top of the season for me was Song for 10. That
Yeah.
kind of took it away. Just Impossible Planet. Dan,
That's the one I was thinking of. That's the one I was thinking
Beautiful, beautiful piece.
That Viking sort of music,
Yeah.
with the strings and everything when they're looking up at Scooty. Yes, that was the one I was thinking of. I couldn't place it then. That's very embarrassing. Oh,
Yeah.
what's
And
everyone
you got
saying in the
the
chat?
James, I don't do a good Song for 10. Stop it.
I mean, I agree with James. I think you should.
No. You. So obviously Murray Gold brings back the Cyberman theme, and in Rise of the Cybermen: Age of Steel, I think that Cyberman theme is brilliant.
It's great. There's like a couple of notes are used quite often to sort of hint at the Cybermen, because they use later on in like Series 8, when even though the Doctor's missing the complete obvious about what these decaying corpses in sort of metal shells could possibly be. There's that sort of, it jumps in the
and it's the same with the Pandorica Opens, where there's that cyber arm.
Yes,
and
there
you
is.
just see that, and the Doctor hasn't noticed it yet. Again, same sort of thing.
Yeah, but no, it's a good soundtrack. And then Series 3, I think, is probably one of his best works, maybe.
James, I refuse to sing that song. I will not be singing. But
give the people what they want. I'll hum, you sing.
Maybe on the maybe when we record, if you're lucky.
I'm totally gonna make
if
sure
we
this
get
happens
if
now.
we get if we need to get do it for a subscriber goal. We'll do it as a subscriber goal. I will do it for I don't know what the goal is going to be, but I will do it. I'll let you know what the goal will be.
46 subscribers.
I hate you.
One more subscriber and you'll do it. One more.
No. You know what? 75. When we get to 75.
I pull the strings here. I'm the executive producer. 46.
No.
It's the one and only time I've ever pulled rank on you, which I don't even have.
No.
I just want you to sing on camera.
No, it's not happening.
It's either that or I upload one of the ones from you at karaoke as a short.
I'm surprised you haven't already, to be honest.
I'm waiting for one that I can at least cut out the swearing of. Anyway,
Do it,
Series
rest
3.
is Tallulah.
Oh,
The
well,
Dream of a Normal Death Series 3. I'm not dressing as Luna. I don't want to make people
that's
sick.
a mental image that nobody needed.
That's Will enjoying himself later.
That's me.
The Dream of a
That's me
Normal
never sleeping again. To be honest with
The
you,
Dream
I
of a
think
Normal Death.
All right, sorry, I keep talking over you. Dream of a Normal Death. Which one's that one?
Oh, I've just got this image of me dressed as Tallulah now. I don't know why. Well, no, I
You've
know
got that
why.
image of you dressed as Toad.
Yeah, it is
That says a
absolutely
lot.
horrifying.
That says a lot about you. I'm not gonna lie, Tom.
No, it's just absolutely mortifying. I don't think I'd look good in drag. I really don't. Oh,
I beg to differ.
right. The Dream of a Normal Death.
How many times are you gonna say that now? So apparently it takes us half an hour to descend into lunacy while live. That's great. It's good to know. Right. This Dream of a Normal Death. Is that the River Song one we've mentioned, or is that something else?
We haven't mentioned it yet.
Oh, I can't remember then. Oh, this is bad. Dream of a Normal Death. Which one's that?
So it was from Human Nature and Family of Blood.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, I definitely did not have to search that up to remind myself.
Yeah, there's the great stuff from Human Nature. That one that starts off quite like a jaunty little tune and then goes quite dark as Martha's getting the flashbacks in the TARDIS. That's a great piece of music. The Face of Beau from Series 3 as well. That's great. That's one that really tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah, Miss Joan Redfern as well was a bit emotional. Blink on top of that.
Yeah, Blink has
Brilliant
that sort
piece
of weird,
music
like,
through
horror
Blink.
music. It's the strings and everything that just sort of genuinely like make me shiver, and not in a, I was gonna say not in a good way, but that sounds weird.
No, it makes your hairs, it makes your hairs on the back of your neck stand up, really, and it like fear sort of stuff.
It works within the context of the episode. That's what I was meant to say.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Gallifrey, our childhood home. That is probably, along with the Master Vainglorious as well, I'd probably say those are the two best bits of music through, like, overall for Series 3.
I think this is Gallifrey's one of those things that had it not been a Doctor Who piece of music, if anyone else would have composed that, it would have won them an award.
Yeah.
Because it's such a stellar piece of music.
Oh yeah, no, it hits everything perfectly.
Yeah, is there anything from the specials? Like I said, the stuff in the Waters of Mars. There's a lot of stuff from the special just hasn't been officially released. You know, like we got Wilf's Wiggle on the soundtrack, but we didn't get sort of the big cliffhanger music in the end of part 1 of The End of Time.
Oh,
but...
I love Wilf's Wiggle.
I know, but one thing is, when I've prioritised that as an official release over the climax of that episode. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
What else is there? Oh, right. So, have we mentioned everything from the RTD era now?
We haven't got on to Series 4 properly. Well, we mentioned this stuff earlier, so we could really give it a miss. Yeah,
we've just done all Series 4 and the specials, haven't we? Right, Series 5 then. Obviously, we've got I Am the Doctor.
Yes.
The stuff in Vincent and the Doctor is stellar.
It's that end scene where Vincent is in the museum looking at people viewing his art. Like, it's the music in that. Like, that scene alone is emotional as hell.
Well, it's got that,
but the music really...
Because it's not Murray Gold. That song is by a band...
No, I know,
name
but
has
it's
gone
still
out of my head.
Season 4 has definitely got some belters, yeah.
I'd have loved to have seen what Murray Gold would have done with that scene had he composed it, just to, like, as a piece of music. But I love that one that, you know, where they're looking up at the star and at the sky, and it sort of blends into the Starry Night painting. Just the whole, actually, the whole Vincent track, the whole episode is just phenomenal. That's one that I'd
With Love Vincent is...
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the whole, though, Series 5 is all right. There's not a lot to stand out to me other than the ones we've mentioned, really.
No. James mentioned the reworked Doctor Who theme in Series 4, along with Donna's theme when he erases her memory.
Yes, and Series 4 theme is the best of the new series by a mile, and that piece of music itself is heartbreaking. Yeah,
it is. Like that scene itself just always gets me. Yeah. and the music really does have an impact on that. It's one of the parts where the music really matters for what's going on.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel like overpowering in the sense that, like, you know, it's going, you must feel sad here. It just helps complement it.
Yeah.
So.
Words win wars.
Words win wars.
Series 5, yeah. What episode is that from?
I mean, I imagine it's the Pandorica speech, isn't it?
Might be, yeah.
God,
It
we're
most
making
likely
ourselves
is.
look like idiots here. We should have done some research.
Hey, I found the songs. Yeah.
Well, you went through Murray Gold on Spotify and picked up ones that you'd already had and you liked.
No, I literally went through each series playlist that came out and just went through, listened to a lot, and I was like, oh, okay. I spent the last hour and a half just binging Murray Gold, and I've loved every second.
You want to get a job, son?
Yeah, it is the Pandorica opens. It's the Hello Stonehenge speech. Yeah,
that's good. That was when I didn't mind I Am the Doctor being played because it was done in sort of variations and things. But after sort of when it's like you're hearing it in Series 6, you're like, oh, do me a favour. I even got fed up of it in the trailers and stuff.
Yeah, you know, just when he's running around and it's just like I Am the Doctor's playing.
Yeah, it plays for like 20 seconds as he runs down a corridor or something and Sonic's a lock and everything. You're like, was that needed? Or could you just put like a sort of quieter thing on there? Series 6 does have that nice like I Am the Doctor in Utah. Oh, we can't skip over A Christmas Carol.
No, the music of A Christmas Carol is top tier.
Yeah, there's not obviously there's the song at the end that's sung amazingly by Catherine Jenkins.
Yes.
But yeah, the music in it as a whole, there's that scene where Abigail's looking at her family through the window and everything, and the music in that is the sort of quieter woodwind instrument. I do apologise if you can hear that in the background. But yeah, you can sort of really pick up on it's the quieter things that work for me more than some of the bigger scores, you know, just the quieter like notes and everything when you're in like a very charged scene emotionally, I think almost work better than the big like I Am the Doctor type things. Not that there's anything wrong with that either. Time
of the Doctor, after that crazy regeneration scene where the Doctor destroys everything with the regeneration energy and everything gets blown to hell and back. And it's just that music while Clara's walking across the town called Christmas, and it's like,
which in itself is
really
reused
somber, quietish music.
Well, that's the music that they used as well with the Doctor and Wilf when the Doctor, when Wilf's trapped in the radiation chamber.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's
we're skipping
like
ahead
really
again.
Does.
We're doing it again.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, like we are doing it again. I mean,
Series 6 doesn't have much that stands out to me anyway. To be fair.
No, yeah,
it's just I Am the Doctor. And... Is there anything? No.
Stormageddon. No, this silly Stormageddon Dark Lord of All music was just meh.
Yeah, actually, no, but we can skip Series 6. There's nothing that stands out to me.
The majestic tale of a madman in a box,
which is just I Am the Doctor remixed.
Yeah, but it's the only bit that stands out.
I mean, fair. What else is there?
Then,
the next one that stands out to me is the Angels Take Manhattan stuff. Not only the one where they jump off the building, but where they've been zapped by the angels as well. That's the next bit of music that really stands out to me.
The long song from Series 7 as well stands out for me. It's a really good piece as well.
That's very good, to be fair. I've always liked that.
It is very, very good. And it's like having them sing the song to the god while the Doctor's giving his speech, again, just adds so much emotion to that scene. And then you've got Clara giving her speech and giving sacrificing that leaf that brought her into the world, or whatever the story was. And like the music for all of that was just so empowering for the scene, and it really did work very well.
Yeah, I mean,
Goodbye Pond was heartbreaking as hell.
Yeah,
I still tear about that.
I tear with joy because I hate Amy, but
she's very Scottish.
That's not
Together
why I hate
or Not at All. Yes, Dan. Together or Not at All is brilliant.
What's everyone else saying? I can't access the chat, so I don't know what anyone was saying. So this is your job.
So Dan has said, I've got it up on my TV. So Dan said, Together or Not at All is stunning. And I really do agree with him, because that's where they're standing at the top of the building for those who don't know, about to jump, and they're having this debate where Rory wants Amy just to push him off and kill him, under a theory that it would poison the well and save the day, which it did, but they didn't know that at the time. But it was that whole bit of Angels Takes Manhattan is so emotionally charged, and just really tugs at your heartstrings right to the final credits where the Doctor's told not to be alone, effectively.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Do you know? And I think I'm glad by this point we're sort of phasing out the "I am the Doctor" stuff, because it gets very, you're sort of beaten over the head with it.
Oh, big time, yeah.
But yeah, the 50th has got some nice scores in as well. When they're on Trenzalore.
Yes,
Trenzalore, Gallifrey. What am I on about?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that's the rest of it. Really is sort of it's very occasional for me where something stands out in the Capaldi era music. Obviously, there's the stuff in Series 10 which is nice. Bill's theme is really good. I hate the Capaldi era theme tune. I'll be honest with you. I think that's a major misfire. I think that's dreadful.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The only thing that really stands out to me from Series 8 is 12's theme, The Good Man. Which is it's a good theme, but again, it's overused and it's kind of smacked across your head quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh no, we haven't skipped over the Rings of Akaten. We've already done the long song, James. Don't worry, we've talked about that because.
I thought you were talking to me then. I was like, what are you on about?
No, yeah, we haven't skipped over the Rings of Akaten. You don't need to worry.
Is that
Heaven Sent in the Capaldi's era.
Oh yeah, that's good. The Shepherd's Boy.
Yeah, Shepherd's Boy is very good.
What else is there? Series 9? There's not much that stands out to me in Series 9. Some nice little motifs and stuff, but yeah, for me it's Series 10 where it picks up again. Then with like Bill's theme and the stuff in the finale, and I don't know. I feel like, is there anything we're missing from the Capaldi era in terms of music apart from A Good Man and The Shepherd's Boy? Because oh no, there's a bit in Husbands of River Song. I mean, this is a rare moment where I'm actually going to praise something in the Husbands of River Song.
It's when they're at the singing Towers of Darillium. It's the music on that I think you're on about.
Yeah, there's that, and there's that, and there's the bit before. The one I'm thinking of is when River works out that she's actually with the Doctor, and then she's giving that big monologue, and there's that really nice sort of music in the back. That's probably the only nice thing I will say about Husbands of River Song, apart from the last 5 minutes as well.
Yeah, you really don't like that, do you?
I would genuinely rather watch paint dry and then be run over.
It's the one for me. I know Murray Gold obviously created Clara's theme. It's Clara's Diner music.
Oh, the one on the guitar
as well. Yeah, I do like that. Considering how that series ends, and the Doctor's just clinging on to knowing that, knowing that Clara was there, and he said that whole, "If Clara was here now, I'd know it," and she's standing right in front of him, and again, it's an emotional goodbye, and it does the right things. It didn't make me like tear up as much as the other ones did, but it did play on some heartstrings. But that bit where he's playing her theme on the guitar is a nice little nod to he remembers who she was, but doesn't remember her at all at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think, for me, it's better used in the pilot where he's about to wipe Bill's mind. And just as he's about to, and she's like, oh, imagine if someone did this to you, and you hear the few notes of Clara's theme. I think that's when it's used probably at its best, and she's not even in that episode, which says a lot about Clara. But
yeah,
I think that really works as like a sort of a jolt of, hey, remember this? Oh no, you don't, kind of thing.
Yeah, Caitlin very nicely put. Again, it wasn't Murray Gold who wrote that regeneration for Jodie Whittaker, but the music in that was actually really good as well. I know we're steering off for Murray Gold and the purpose of today, but the music for that was class.
I think, well, I've always said that, like, sort of the more orchestral stuff that Sega Nakanola did was his better work. You know, like there's the
Yeah.
13's theme that you hear and the regeneration and stuff, and then the like the sort of weird variation, the James Bond type music he does in Spyfall and things. That sounds great. It's just the sort of, and there's nothing. It's not even like I don't like the quieter sort of more atmospheric synthy like electronic sounds. There's nothing wrong with that. And if anything, I quite like to put it on. It's quite nice as background noise if you're working or something, I found. But I
Yeah.
just don't think it really suits the show that much. To have that all the time is like the majority of the focus is.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't really. It gives more of a sense of look at this when it does the big orchestral stuff, but to have that all the time, that quiet sort of in the background and everything.
Yeah.
It's, I think, do that some of the time, sure, but relying on it 95% of the time for the score, it just sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, I was working out as well the other day. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yes. No, I'll let you finish. Right, you were working out the other day.
I worked out the other day that I don't associate the Master's theme from Series 12 anymore with the Master. I associate it with Evil Dan. Because every time I hear that music, I think I'm about to see a John Bishop related meme, and it just completely. So when I was rewatching Spyfall a while ago, was that meant to be a Scouse accent? Yeah. That's awful. But I was rewatching Spyfall like a while back, and I heard the music, and I was like, no, this doesn't feel right. This is supposed to... And I was like, oh no, this is actually where it's come from. It's just in my head, I've seen it used more for those memes than anything. Anyway, I'm getting off point. What were you saying?
So I was going to say, Dan mentioned Missy's theme being decent. It wasn't stand out for me to an extent. It was good.
It's suited
and
here
then
very
James...
well.
Sorry.
The Missy theme, it's suited here quite well, but as a piece of music, it wasn't one of Murray's best.
Yeah. And then, I agree with you that. But then James brought up something we did glance over, and that was the music from Face the Raven.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got the bit with the death locked in, Face the Raven, just as Clara's about to die and stuff, and everything going on and leading up to that. The music in that is incredible.
Yeah, no, that is good. And there's this scene as well where the Doctor sort of goes a bit rogue to a shielder and is like, fix this now and everything. Like there's that sort of the bass and the drum. I was going to say drum and bass here, but that sort of gives off the wrong impression. But like there's that sort of bassy drum and the bass string. I don't know the instruments. The one that's like a big, like a massive violin that you have to sit on. Not sit on, but like a cello. What am I on about? Big violin, like. Big violin. I know.
Yeah.
Right.
But I love that episode anyways, and that part and everything that comes after it, because you see the Doctor taking a darker turn. Yeah, it is funny to watch. But it's just like you get to see the Doctor take a very dark turn, and he realizes what he's become when it comes to his companions and how much he cares for them.
Yeah,
which
and it works
kind of ties in with
of Clara and the Doctor.
Yeah.
And I think that's the darkness that I would have liked to see more in Capaldi's era. Not dark as in like, oh, he's just like an edgy teen where he's like telling little kids to go away and stuff. That's not really the Doctor for me. It's the Doctor being dark is that sort of stuff where he's like, I'll end you and everything because you've hurt my friend. That's the sort of darkness that I would want to have seen more of, not the spiky, nastiness that we get in Series 8 that just never sat right with me and still doesn't even now.
And it's a sort of, you get a kind of glimpse at that with Matt Smith, Doctor after the Angels take Manhattan, in going into the Snowmen, because you see him doing that bit where he's like, "No, I'm not having a companion." He's really upset and contemplating everything and really struggling hard with the loss, and it is a bit foreshadowy of what was to come.
Yeah, and I think that I remember rewatching The Snowman recently. I think it was over the Christmas period last year, and it was gone from one that I've really, enjoyed in the past to it's just a lot of things that just don't really. I think they were quite contrived. It's quite tonally inconsistent. You've got the Doctor being all mopey, but then you've got Strax like, shall I get some grenades? And we need laser monkeys or whatever it is he's on about, and all that bollocks.
It's like, I'll get some clothes for this young man. I'm a girl. Are you?
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
like
yeah,
it just doesn't really. And then the whole thing about like, oh, she answered the one word test with pond and everything, and it's like, oh my god, how does she? Like, who would go through everything that Clara's been through and give that as your one word to describe everything? She's got to go, pond. Like,
yeah,
I was it just yeah no. If this is turning into another rant,
yeah. We need to do a video where we just rant, I think, and get it
what
out
do you
our
think we
system.
do once a week? Have you not seen some of the things we do where we've just slated stuff? We talk about something completely different, and then it's all of a sudden it's like I bloody hate the timeless children. Um, God, I'm trying to think
Yeah,
now. Should we take a quick break? Well, because I need to get another glass of water, and then we'll just talk about sort of
yeah,
music and not music in general, as in like what's in the charts, but like sort of how Doctor Who uses it.
yeah. No, that's
Yeah,
fine with me.
sound right. Well, we'll be back in a minute then. I haven't got a back
Yep,
in a minute screen. I've only got a starting soon one. Oh, that's fine. Right, bye.
that's fine. That's fine. I'll stay put. Awesome.
Right. Hello, everyone, again. I can't remember what we're going to
Yes.
carry on talking about now because we've basically done all of.
So we covered his entire era. We were going to talk about music as a whole and how it is used, I believe.
Yes. So I think that in terms of, it's gone through Doctor Who. Being nearly 60 years old, it's gone through music in very different aspects, I suppose, because you get stuff in the 60s where it's very basic. Quite a lot of it is stock music that's because it's cheaper to just pay for stuff that's already been recorded than to hire people to do it for you. And there's some great stuff in there,
Yeah.
stuff that sticks out. We got like the Cybermen in Tomb of the Cybermen and everything, and the
Yeah.
Seeds of Death intro that always sticks with me. But as a whole, it's very much just stock music and things. But the 70s
Yeah.
has some very experimental. The John Pertwee era, I think, has some of in terms of I respect the fact that it was very experimental. I respect that they were doing something different, and at the time it probably sounded very cutting edge. But now, it just sounds like noise. And
Yeah.
it is like if you watch something like The Claws of Axos and your ears haven't bled and you haven't bled to death through your ears, then you're a very strong person. Because every time I watch it, I wish because like some of the DVDs have like their isolated music track. I wish you could have an option to remove the music.
Yeah, it's very obvious that it's the first time they're really trying to use music with parts of the show and changing the music for the mood of each part. And
Yeah.
like it's experimental at this point, so you're not expecting amazing, but it's nice to see how far that's come because you've gone from that sort of ear bleeding drony noise which we see now, which at the time was probably cutting edge,
Well,
up
this is the
to
thing. I like
now
at
Murray
the time
Gold's
it was
amazing
probably
scores.
very, it was very new. It was using synthesizers and stuff, and however many TV shows at the time are using synthesizers to make music. Not many, but
Yeah,
that doesn't necessarily mean I can sit here objectively and go, well, it was experimental, therefore it was good, because that would be a lie. Because some of it is nonsense.
yeah, but then it was stuff that they needed to try out at the same time. So you can respect where they're coming from with the idea, not necessarily the outcome.
Yeah, I respect the idea, not necessarily the execution. Execution? I'm Sean
Yeah.
Connery. But yeah, there's I don't know. There's over the 70s, you get more. Dudley Simpson becomes the Murray Gold of the classic era, where it's mostly him, and then sort of occasionally other people as well, like Carrie Blyton, who would do stuff like Death of the Daleks. So you've got that awful Dalek theme where it's like the most sort of unthreatening piece of music for the universe's greatest monsters,
Yeah.
But then I think as we move into the later 70s, there's some nice themes that you get the music in Nightmare of Eden. That one always sounds like City of Death as well, which is one of the more
Yeah.
famous pieces of music. And then you get proper, really synthy and experimental, but in still in quite a melodic way. Whereas sort of early 70s radiophonic workshop experimental stuff was just noise and just hitting different things that you'd find in a cupboard with different things you'd find in a drawer. And then the 80s you get stuff that sounds maybe a little bit dated now, but it's still got a nice melody to it. You get stuff like the Paddy Russell. No, not Paddy Russell. Who am I on about? Paddy Kingsland. Like Logopolis and Castrovalva and things like that. That's it sounds really good. I've always said that Enlightenment's got a great theme. There's great soundtrack. There's great stuff in the Five Doctors. Not to mention the different versions of the theme we get, which I think the Peter Howell, Davis and early Colin Baker one is my favourite. Which is a bit of a hot take because it's not the original, but I like it. It's the one I sort of grew up with, really, because I often watched Davison was the one I watched the most when I was younger, so I feel like that's the one with the most nostalgia to me.
Yeah, he's your childhood sort of doctor, isn't he?
Yeah, so I think that intro and the music from that, there's stuff in there that Castrovalva, I've already mentioned, even the Cybermen March from Earthshock, which isn't that great, is something that has stuck with me. Tiny, You know, I remember watching that when I was like sort of 4 or 5 years old, and now I'm here 23.
It's not amazing, but it's not amazing. But when you hear it, you know that it's the March from Earthshock.
Yeah.
Like it stands out.
No, exactly. And then there's some more. There's other things that stick in the brain, like you get like the two doctors, that sort of Spanish, like a guitar, and that sort of riff, and then the sort of very bass heavy, sort of militaristic Sontaran theme. What else is there? Any sort of, then you get people like Kef McCulloch, who will either bring their A game to things like Remembrance of the Daleks, and then compose something like the 1987 version of the theme, which has grown on me. I will admit, McCoy's version of the theme tune has grown on me. It's still not one of my favourites and never will be, but there's definitely worse. Ironically, there's worse by Murray Gold, which is weird.
No.
But then but again, I think some of that 80s stuff is just nostalgia to me more than anything. You right there? Stick in my head, whether it be good or bad. But like, I'll always love the music to like Delta and the Bannermen. You know, the dash bike chase across the Welsh hillsides and things.
Yeah.
It just works. I love it. And then there's genuinely good pieces of music towards the end. Then in like the Curse of Fenric and things like that. You know, that's got a great score.
Yeah.
And finally,
it's brilliant.
You know, so we cover all bases. I think the movie's got a cracking soundtrack. The theme tune in that is great. There's some great pieces of music in it. You know, like the initial scene where the TARDIS is malfunctioning and everything. Sounds great.
Yeah, I really didn't. I rewatched the movie for the first time in a while the other day, and I really do love that movie. I think it's great.
Parts of it are really, really good. There are other parts that you just think, what on earth are you doing? It's like, in terms of an episode of Doctor Who,
it's
not
that
too
kiss
bad.
at the end. It's just like,
the kiss doesn't even bother me, because that's something you get used to in New Who and stuff with David Tennant. But like,
yeah, no, but it's the first time you see the Doctor involved that way with a companion.
Is Grace really a companion though? She never went anywhere.
No, true.
I mean, that's because they didn't go to series, but that's not the point.
No, we can complain about that until the cows come home. I don't think we're going to get a McGann series on TV, sadly.
Well, I mean, I think the iteration that it would have been in 1996 was, I think it was probably a good thing, because I think if that had gone to series, it would have lasted 2 years, and then Doctor Who would never have come back, because the plans they had for that
I think what they
weird.
did was good.
But I think in terms of like,
it was a blueprint of what not to do.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, if you're going to relaunch a sort of popular pop culture. Oh, I can't even talk. Popular pop culture series from across the pond. Don't be so continuity heavy. Like, people in America aren't going to know everything about the Master, and well, why is he suddenly changed and everything? And yeah, it's just a weird way of doing it. I think the best way to relaunch it is just to go into it fresh. You don't need to necessarily tie up all the loose ends right away. Gradually introduce things, like in the Russell T Davies era. Bring back the Daleks, then you bring back Seven, then you bring back the Master, then you bring back Davros and the Sontarans, and
I really loved how they bridged that gap where they had Eccleston fresh out the Time War, and then so for new people, it's a brand new story of Doctor Who for new fans coming in to get in, and then it's that bit of, okay, so what's happened between then and now? Like, what's this time? It rehooks the original series audience, because like, okay, what the hell's happened?
Yeah, exactly.
It's done really well to merge both sets of fans, and the improvement of the music overall as well, because music is essential in setting the tone of the scene. In some cases, like, we've had the emotional goodbyes, the emotional deaths, but then we've had the really, really happy moments, like the Doctor dances, and you've got that bit where it's like, everybody lives just this once, and
I think
you got that really happy music, and it really does impact the scenes.
Yeah, I think as well with Doctor Who is it champions the fact that you can rely on an original score to tell your story. You don't have to do like what you know, like a CW show where every piece of music is just a song that you've just licensed because you haven't got an original score really. You know, you look at stuff from like sort of the late 2000s, early noughties on CW, like you know your Vampire Diaries, your Arrow Universe stuff. All of that is just other music from from cheap artists that they can buy the rights to hear the songs off. Whereas British shows, and I mean I'm not saying it's not that's just a case in point there because like, there's other American shows that use music very well. I mean you look at Battlestar Galactica, the new version of Battlestar Galactica. If you haven't seen that, Tom, you'd love it. If you have seen it, I'm proud of you. But they use music very well because it's you don't often get these big melodies, but the tone of it and everything fits perfectly into the way the show is filmed and presented. And then it uses music at one point as not necessarily a plot thread, but it's got a deeper thing than just this is the soundtrack to this scene of the episode. There's so much more to it. I think it's nice to see other shows do that as well. And I know Battlestar Galactica was sort of started before Doctor Who, but other shows, have definitely been influenced by having these sort of big bombastic scores since Doctor Who for, easily.
Yeah.
Especially on British telly as well. You look at any sort of either any sort of fantasy show or sci-fi show or any sort of big sort of 10, 13 week drama has got quite a predominant score in it now, and it's not just a case of background music and licensing cheap artists' songs and things. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for today. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to
add. No, I was just thinking before we go.
I just want to tell you were fantastic.
Well, before we... Oh, don't. Don't, because I will start crying.
Eyebrows.
One composer you'd love to see Murray Gold work with in season 14, if it's possible. So he has the orchestra, but he does his bits with other people as well for the show.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Any show as well. It can be Doctor Who spin-off. It can be Star Wars. It could be anything.
Well, what else would I like to see Murray Gold do?
No, who would you bring in to work with him for an episode of Doctor Who?
Oh, that's so difficult. If it was just an episode, that's difficult. I'd like to bring in so many different people for different types of episodes. Bring in, if you're doing like sort of an episode set in the 80s, bring in like a very sort of 80s-esque electro band. Bring in like the 1975 or something to compose some instrumental tracks. Or if you're doing like a sort of big space opera, then you get someone like I don't know. Sorry, I don't know. But then if you're doing like a sort of big fantasy thing, you get David Buckley to do like a very Sandman type. I don't know. I'd quite like to see that though, have him sort of be like the musical director, and then bring in different people to do different themes and stuff depending on the situation or character. I think that's what he needs really, just to keep it fresh.
Yeah, I'd personally love to see Ben Foster come in.
Yes, to be fair, that would be good.
Because just for the Children of Earth music.
Yeah, I mean Torchwood's got some very good
he did that on Torchwood. Yeah. So
Blair
just some of his work on Torchwood.
There's Blair Mowat as well, who did Class and has done like different pieces of music across. He does the music for the Torchwood Big Finish stuff, and there's some great scores in there and musical like set pieces and things. So yeah, I don't know. That's a very good question. You always ask me the hard questions while my brains run out of juice.
Sorry, yeah. No, but it's a good question.
It is.
But anyone who's listening as well now, let us know in the comments once this video's gone live as well. You can drop a comment in, come back and...
It is live. We are live.
Chuck it in. Yeah, I know we're live, so you can chuck them in now, but like after as well.
Yeah. Please.
Just chuck them in if you keep doing it.
Let us know what you thought of this experiment as well. If you enjoyed it, because I've enjoyed it. It's a nice little change of...
It's been good. Because it's not been rambly either, really, have it?
Oh, I mean, it has, but that's just us two. That's never going to change.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
But anyway, well, in that case then, we'll wrap it up and bid you farewell. We'll see you next week, probably for a video.
Waiting for me. Yes, hopefully.
So, but yeah, anyway,
the pub. Oh, pub. Yeah. Pub. Yes, that's fine. But from us, that is goodbye. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this video as well.
Yeah, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your dog.
Yes. Send us pictures of your pets. Why not? I love animals.
Just so Tom knows, you can steal them.
No, I wouldn't steal them.
Yeah, you would. Criminal.
Shut up.
Anyway, well, we'll leave it there then. Thank you everyone for joining us on this little random experiment here. Obviously, if this will, like Tom said, will stay out. It won't just be a live and gone. It'll stay there for you to come back and watch. I'm talking to people in the future now. This is weird time travel stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go now because my head's fried.
Yeah. Timey-wimey.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.